most of today's episode we talk about how whether the Fast and Furious 9 got released or not. We do touch on the film, but we didn't have the most action-packed of minutes. A lot of big stuff happened in there, but just not stuff we were willing to talk about. And also, we were very busy in our lives. We were trying to cram the recording in when we did it.
But also, there's 150 episodes before us, and they've covered everything, right, Jay?
Absolutely.
Like, this is, like, we just went freestyle on
it. We did. It was a fun time, and I highly recommend listening to all the other weeks as well. If The Best Years of Our Lives is a film you like, then you will like this podcast. If you don't know what it is, never heard of it, then check it out. It's a great film, and then listen to the podcast. It is a fun time. I was also a guest on American Graffiti One Song at a Time with their hosts Tierney Steele, Doris Weiss, and Rachel Mummett. Doris was the co-host, or the host for my chapter, where I talked about the scene in which Richard Dreyfuss's character does some damage to a cop car as part of a gang-related act. I'm not a fan of the film. I hate cars. I hate kids. I'm not a big fan of American youth culture. It's a film I shouldn't be talking about on a podcast, but I had a good time doing so and airing some grievances with Doris. And so that's a good show as well, whether you like the film or not. So American Graffiti One Song at a Time. And very soon I'll be on to another one of these chapter-by-chapter podcasts, which is my friend Bubba Wheat from Filmwise and Flight Size Movie Nights is doing a podcast called It's Time to Rewind, which he's looking at time loop films, kicking things off with Groundhog Day, the king of time loop films, where he's looking at the film one time loop at a time, so one day at a time. At the time of recording, he is on the 4th or 5th slap in a row, where each chapter is looking at less than a second of footage, and I do not envy him and Jason said we're talking about that, but I want to talk about the final day. Got a big old chunk to talk about, and it's going to be a good old time. So that won't be up by the time this podcast comes out, but it will be up soon. And you can have some time to prepare, but listen to It's Time to Rewind and hear lots of thoughts about Groundhog Day. So do that.
I hope they cover the map of Tiny Perfect Things, because I love that movie.
I hope to watch it first, because I have yet to see it.
Oh, it's such a nice movie. I love it. It makes me happy.
So check me out on those podcasts. Out, coming soon, in the past, who knows. Cool. I think that'll do it for DVC 3 Chapter 11, the scene where nothing happened, but we still talked for an hour without a guest. Good. So come back next week for our DVC character draft of all 3 films. But as for this week, I've been Jay Cluett.
And I'm Mark Carp Durant Hoffmeyer.
And we'll deeply see you next week.